Video. Yes, I'm making a video, I believe. Yeah, so kind of movie themes, getting the idea of how to explore mechanisms of storytelling and such to illustrate reality, the important aspects of reality, the nature of the thing. So I was thinking about the game idea in the sense of the idea of creating some sort of board game that would illustrate the real nature of life, in the sense that you would, with every permutation of the game, roll of the dice, or starting of a game or something, you would get some sense of what real life is doing on Earth. You'd be born a housefly, or a paramecium, or that kind of idea, just to get some proportional understanding that most of life on Earth is not human. Most, like, big capital letters. Anyway, and in that nature of that, in that theme, there's I was thinking of the idea that, we really don't get to taste, life, in the sense that we don't die. We're talking about what life is, and we haven't died. We haven't had one of those big experiences, and we certainly don't recall our birth. Most of us don't, anyway. Realistically, some people claim certain knowledge, but whatever. Yeah, so we don't have explicit memories of some of the events of our life, and it might be interesting to be able to reclaim those memories, reclaim that knowledge of experience. If you got amnesia or something and found out that you served in some world war and you were horribly injured and had a whole bunch of stuff happen to you, you might be irritated if you didn't have a memory of it. That there was this whole big part of your life that likely informed your perspective dramatically, and yet you don't have a reference. You can't find it in the reference book. So anyway, in that theme, I was thinking of this idea of being able to leap into other lives. It's kind of like that Quantum Leap TV show. I thought of the show after I thought of the idea, and I said, "Oh shit, that's the Quantum Leap." In some respects, my idea of it was that you would, every 5 minutes of your life, you would experience someone else's life. So you'd be 5 minutes here, I'm me, and then for 5 minutes of this life I would disappear, or it could be just for a millisecond of this life. Just the knowledge of it would be retained, let's say, of going and coming back. And let's say you go and you spend from 5 minutes to 1 hour in the body of somebody else. So you experience what they are experiencing physically. You feel their sensations, their appetites, their attractions and repulsions, but you retain your identity. And you bring the information back to the person you are. And so I was just thinking about what the implications would that be in terms of what you're likely to experience as you leap into these other lives, in the moment as they're dying sometimes. And sometimes you'll be trapped in that person for an hour, sometimes 5 minutes. You won't know how long you're going to have to endure their trauma. They might be in the middle of a horrible trauma, and you're going to have to experience that. Might be trapped in an earthquake or something. Obviously, you'd always have some solace in that you could think of, well, maybe I'll leap before it gets worse, that kind of thing. But you just don't know what you're in for, how many minutes it will, you'll be, blighted. And then you also live comfortable lives, also, people in very enjoyable circumstances, and you gain some appreciation for, all right, well, this is the good side, this is the bad side. And I would speculate that once people experienced that sample, that random sample of reality, that they would have some appreciation of how trivial the reward is and how substantial the risk is in the game that we call life, that the people blighted and miserable for some circumstantial reason, physical or environmental, is substantial, and the lives in bliss and comfort are not very substantial, and are often don't have much character. They're just sensual and crude. So, yeah, I just the trick is figuring out a mechanism. Quantum Leap had some kind of silly idea of a machine or whatever, and some guy trying to do something, but the whole idea of it seemed a little bit wacky. Like you teleport into somebody who needs your help to fix some circumstance for some overall reason. It did seem a little like there has to be a god somewhere controlling everything. It just seemed a little too convenient that he always leaped into people who needed him, or into a circumstance where he was needed. But like I said, the theme I think is kind of rich for getting something out of it. And it is a little surprising that theme hasn't reoccurred somewhere in some other medium. So yeah, but figuring out some mechanics to create a rational physics that would provide opportunity for this, whether it be some sort of chip thing in people's heads, and so, I don't know what it would be, but yeah, that's the tricky part. So if you have any ideas, fine. Yeah, that's about it. So we'll keep it short, but I think it would wise people up, if they actually did have that context of knowing what it was to be human in the common way, completely, from birth to death, to know all of those experiences. Anyway, until next time.